you about a subject on the 10 perfections. In Pali, we call it Dasa Paramita. Dasa means 10. Paramita. It is, we translate it as perfections, but actually it means that quality which, when we cultivate, helps us to get across to the other shore, to go across another, to cross the ocean of samsara, like that. So there are these 10 perfections according to the Pali tradition, and these are the requisites, or the prerequisites rather, for becoming a supremely enlightened being, to become a Sammasambuddha. If you want to become a supreme or fully enlightened Buddha, then you have to perfect these qualities. Practice it until perfection. What are these 10 perfections? First one is Dana Parami. What is Dana? Generosity, giving, liberality. And how do you practice Dana to its perfection? There are 3 levels by which we can practice Dana to its perfection. The first level, the first degree of perfection is when we are able to give up our material possession. Like we are able to give, to share what we have, such as food, clothing, shelter, medicine, and other things we can share with other people. We can give up. That is at the material level, the first degree of perfection. If we want to practice giving to a higher degree of perfection, we should be able to give up something belonging to this body, or what we call bodily possession. What is it do you possess that you can give from your body? You can give eyes. Yes, you can donate cornea, your eyes. And today they only take your eyes when you die. So you can, there is the Association for the Blind, you can sign up and donate your eye. And they only take it actually when, in case of accident, then if you have given permission and you keep that authorization with you, and then they can come normally within 6 hours. The eye is still good. They can take out and they can use the cornea. That is one. What is the more common thing that we can give? You see poster being posted in various parts of the temple, asking you to donate blood. Yes, blood donation, giving blood. that is something from within we are able to give up to others. And also there are various other tissues, organs that can be transplanted and we can offer, such as the kidney and so on. I remember when I was in Singapore, when I was invited to talk about the Buddhist attitude towards tissue transplant, tissue and organ transplant, organized by the Kidney Foundation. And I told them that the Buddhist attitude towards organ donation, it is very clearly stated in the teachings of the Buddha. In fact, in the Jataka, the stories of the past lives of the Buddha, we can find one story whereby the Buddha, in one of his past lives, he was born in as a ruler in a ruling class, and he grew up to be a king, and his name was King Sivi, and this is what we call the Sivi Jataka. And as a king, he ruled righteously, and one day he decided to do some good action, and he took compassion upon one blind, his blind servant, and he called up the blind man and said, I shall give you my eye. And he summoned his ministers to bring a surgeon. And they brought a surgeon there. And this surgeon operated, took out the king's eye and put the eye into the blind man's. And this incident took place long ago. Not during the time of the Buddha. The Buddha lived more than 2,500 years ago. But this is found in the Jataka story. That means the Buddha related his past lives, one of his past lives. So those doctors, they were quite surprised. They were rather surprised to hear that organ transplant has been conducted very long ago. And this is where this story becomes very clear, the Buddhist attitude, how we can practice this. So actually, for many lives, the Buddha practiced giving up not only material wealth. Because of his giving, because of his dana parami, in the past, he was born many times as prince and grew up. He had everything that the material world could offer him. And when he realized the unsatisfactoriness of life, he just walked out from the kingdom. Until his last life as Prince Siddhartha, he chose to give up the kingdom and lead a simple life in search for the highest truth. He was not born in a poor family. It is the result of his giving, the result of that perfection of giving, that he had everything that the material world can offer. Everything was at his disposal. He had painters, sculptors sculpturing before him, singers, dancers dancing before him. He had everything. He did not go out in his palace. He was able to see all these things. As such is the result of paramis, or perfections, or virtues. When you perfect those virtues, it is karma, wholesome karma, ripen. And there are a lot of stories which illustrates this parami, on dana paramita. One famous story, very popular story, is the story of Visantara Jataka. Have you heard of the Visantara Jataka? Have you heard? Anyone have heard of Visantara Jataka? You can tell? No. Yes, I have seen a film on video, Visantara Jataka. It is in Thai language. It was prepared in Thailand when the king of Thailand celebrated his 60th birthday. When they celebrated the 60th birthday. And it is, I think, in 6 cassettes, so I'm not sure how many cassettes. Very beautifully done. Only thing, it is in Thai language. And I had somebody to translate for me. And in this Visantara Jataka, it's quite a long story for me to tell you. But I can cut it short if you want. I can shorten the story. How, if I can remember, how in one of his past lives as Bodhisattva, perfecting his virtues of giving, he was born. Again, he was born in the family of king. And as a prince, even before his birth, his mother felt, Queen Pusati, felt the urge of giving, of doing what you call giving out things to people. And so when he was born, in his young days, he just liked to give whatever he has. As a young prince, he was bedecked. He had various kinds of ornaments, gold necklace and so on, jewelries. And when he was looked after by a number of servants, maids. And he would take out his gold chain and give it to the maids, the servants looking after him. When he was a small boy, he would give that up, one after the other. And when the mother saw that there are no more jewelry on him, they made new one for him. And even that he take out and give the others. When he was small, he had a strong urge to give. And When he grew up, he became a very much beloved prince. Because of his generosity. It was the tradition in India at that time, where there are righteous kings and good princes. They would build hall, they call it Dharmasala. They build hall, they erect halls where they can go to certain place in the country, in the rural, in the villages, and bring all kinds of things that the needy, the poor people need, such as clothes and food and so on, and he would distribute to the people. This he did on many occasions, and that is how he gets the love of the people. Do you know the virtue of dana? The practice of dana is the way by which you can make friends. If you want to make friends, you should know how to share. You must know how to share. Share what you have with others. If you do not know how to share, if you don't share what you have with others, then you have no friends. You know, the people come to bring alms food to the monks, to give you all, to all the novices. They do this dana, this giving. In this way, by bringing something every day, or by contributing something to sponsor for your meals and so on, and then they come. This is how they make friends. With whom? Make friends with you, is it? If not directly with you, but they make friends with the monks. They come closer to the monks. They come closer to the Sangha. So naturally, when they in time of trouble, when they are sick, and if they come close, they are friends, they associate with the monks, then naturally the monk will ask about them, why they have not come, like that. And you see, there is this tradition during the time of the Buddha, and it's still being carried out, where the monks go out every day with their begging bowl. They go from house to collect some food. This practice of going around for Pindapata to collect alms is, for the main purpose is to teach others to give opportunity for people to learn the art of giving. So when they give something, then they have happiness, they have joy, like that. And not only that, this is how they come close. They establish contact. They begin to associate with the Sangha, with members of the Sangha, like that. And when the monk go to the house, some prepare food and give every day. And then one day, when the monk go there and see nobody there, then he goes round and come back to the temple. And then he inquires, what happened to that person, so and so, that lives there? So then, in other words, once they come to know, this is how, out of compassion, loving kindness, the monks have concern for the laity, the lay people. So this is how giving brings about friendship, gives rise to association. Of course, you must give with wisdom whom you give to. If you give to wise people, you make friends with wise people. If you give to all the bad, naughty ones, they also become your good friends. They also come after you. So, Prince Visantara has done that. And when he grew up, it was time for him, the father, the king, paved the way for him to succeed, to come up to the throne, to become a king. So he had a trial period, and at that time, he had a very beautiful elephant, a white elephant, majestic elephant. And that elephant was a symbol of fortune, of prosperity for the nation, for the kingdom. And the people loved that elephant so much. Then what happened was, in the neighboring country, the neighboring state, they had famine, and they were suffering from drought and various things. So because of that, the people there, they consulted the Brahmins, the priests in that area, and they thought that why not we go? By then they have heard about the popular, they had heard about the generosity of that prince, of Prince Visantara. So they say, why not we go to the kingdom of Visantara, and then we ask him for the white elephant. When we get the white elephant will bring prosperity, will restore fortune and prosperity to our country. And so what happened was, they went. And when they went, they asked the prince, Visantara, for this white elephant. And the prince never refused anyone who asked. So he gave up the white elephant. Because of that giving, what happened? The people of the country became very upset because they loved that elephant. Not only that, because they had a strong belief that that elephant was a symbol of prosperity. So they thought that if Prince Visantara is to give up like that, is to practice generosity in this manner, then one day the neighboring country will come and ask him, please give me your throne. He might give up. And so the people came together and they approached the king and told the king that this is something wrong which Prince Visantara had done. And they requested the king and later demanded the king to banish, to send the prince away. And the prince had to discuss. It was a very democratic way. He listened and he weighed and considered, and with very great difficulty he had to take the decision to send the son Visantara, Prince Visantara, away. And it was a very touching moment, actually. Prince Visantara, he had to leave the kingdom with wife and 2 children, a son and a daughter. He left. And when he left, on his way, he left in a chariot with white horse. And then just as he was about to go out, just as he left the palace gate, there were a few other Brahmins came, paid their respect, and then they asked the prince. They told the prince they have to walk from so far away and they have no means of transport. Then what did the prince do? Prince says, if you want transport, you can take my chariot. You can take with the horses, you can take away. And the prince came down and walked with the wife and 2 children, walk into the forest, climb up the mountains and so on. And then on the way, devas. Have you seen devas? No? I saw them. I saw how the devas came in the video. And you can see them too. I can show you later on. Devas took pity. This little boy, the children walked for far away. There was no food. So the son was looking up on the fruit trees, and there were a lot of mangoes and some fruits, but it was too high. And then the prince did not know what to do because this little boy was hungry. And devas saw this. The devas, suddenly you see that the branch of the tree bowed down, fell down like that. Just enough for the little boy to pick the fruits. When the Prince Visantara saw this, he knew, at once he knew this was the work of some deities, was the work of some devas. And because he knew, and he had the confidence, he said, let us go on, march on. And he went on and on. And until he came to one place. Now by this time, after this journey in the forest, by this time, Sakra, Lord Sakra, he had seen what was happening, and he had summoned all his subordinates, all the little devas, to go to a certain place to build up a nice hut, a kuti, and put there, engrave there, for meditators, for Dhamma practitioners only. And what happened? I also saw how the devas, how they build this hut. Oh, very quick. Big hut was ready, beautiful one, And when Visantara went there, Visantara saw this hut. He also knew that this was built by some devas. And then he went, he stayed there. So the wife stayed in another hut. And he practiced as yogi for some time. Then came the test. There is an old man came. This old man, his wife, he had a young wife, He had no children. So he came one day he went to see Visantara, and he heard about the generosity of Prince Visantara. So he went to Visantara and asked him he says, crying, and he said, I have no children to help me. You are young, you have children. And then he asked for the children. He says, you have a wife, you have a young wife to look after you. I have nobody, but actually he has a young wife, no? And so he asked for these children. And what did Visantara do? It was very difficult, very touching, And but he also gave away that. He also gave away the children. And then, do you know who this old man was? This old man, he was Devadatta in the past life. Devadatta. There is a good story about Devadatta and the Bodhisattva, the Buddha, all in the past life. They were together. They were always testing one another. They were always, giving trouble to one another. So he took these children away. And then Sakra, by this time, the king of the Devas, had seen and wanted to test Prince Visantara, test him whether he really perfected his giving or not. And so Sakra came in the guise of another old man. And this time, asked for whom? What else did Sakra have? Only the wife. And this time asked for the hand of the wife. It was very painful. And Prince Visantara looked at the wife. And the wife said, I am here. I would like to help you to perfect your parami. And you can do as you please. And so Visantara, they give the wife by pouring water into the hands of that old man. And then now King Sakra, the Deva king, now he knows, he realized that Visantara, he is now perfected in his Dana Parami. He is prepared to give everything what he had. And then, of course, the story goes that Sakra did not take the wife. Sakra, suddenly appeared, and he was up in the sky. And then he looked down on Prince Visantara and said, he says, you truly have perfected this perfection of giving. Now I give you so many boons, so many wishes. What do you want? Like that. And very happy ending. But this story, I have shortened this story, And if you watch the video, it takes a long time. And this story illustrates how, of course, many people cannot understand. Many people think, how can you give your wife and child? Giving wife and children away like that. But actually, it is the perfection of giving, and also it illustrates how within the family one can practice this perfection. Always because the wife of Prince Visantara, she was actually Yashodhara in her previous birth, because later on the Buddha explained that Yashodhara, who had married to him as Prince Siddhartha, it was not only that line, it was long, many lives that they had been together from life to life. And each life, they were paving the way for one another in perfecting their paramis, perfecting their virtues. This is how we see the concept of family life. How one can help another, support one another in perfecting one's giving. So you should try to practice this, a very good practice. Not like many families, wife very generous, husband not generous. Husband generous, husband want to give, wife don't want to give. Husband want to take out something, wife take back again. Got it? You see how the practicing of parami, encouraging one to give. And in fact, if you practice this giving, you will realize the more you give, the more you receive, like that. And what you give is what you have received. Very beautiful thing. And sometimes, the things that we have, the wealth that we have, sometimes, the things that we have not given, we lose. And some people come and take it away. Or the water, floods come and spoil it. And then we get very upset. When you get upset, you should think. You think like this. Before I had this thing, I did not have anything. Right? If you can think like that, you can free your mind from your worries. Many people, when the last few years, when they had the share market fell down, they lost a lot of money, and they lost a lot of property. They have to sell a lot of property. And some commit suicide, and many went almost crazy. Some came to the temple too, and they meditated, they calmed down their mind, and then now they are able to build up again. I know of at least one person who have lost like that, and they come up again. Now, when they lose, they get so upset. If you have the right contemplation, the right thoughts, you just ask yourself, before I made all those money, did I have? Before that, I did not have anything. But because of the good time, all the effort that I put, and I got those things. And what I have, now it is gone. So if you can contemplate, if you have right contemplation, this is the time where you should philosophize. Like sometimes, you have some antique, something that you cherish so much of sentimental value, and your friend come accidentally, the antique vase break. And what happened? Do you get angry? You get very upset. And you get so upset with your friend that you vow not to see her anymore. Like that. You blame her for that. But if you can understand Dhamma, if you realize Dhamma, if you can think the right way, if you can think in terms of the real nature of things, like you say, things that are breakable are bound to break one day, sooner or later, now that it is broken. You see the nature of it. Just accept nature as it is, like that. You can free your mind from a lot of trouble, a lot of worries and a lot of problems. This is how, by studying the Dhamma, by realizing the Dhamma, and by applying the Dhamma, we can cut off. We can let go. We can give up many things. And you try to practice and you see the truth of it. The practice of generosity. So the degree how you can perfect your giving. First degree is by material things. Second degree is by giving something, bodily possession, blood, tissues, organs of the body. If you can save the life of others, like that. And the highest form of giving, the highest degree of giving, the perfection of giving, what is that? The third degree. What? No. Is that you are prepared to give your life for the welfare, for the happiness of others. You are prepared even to lose your life to save others. Are you prepared? This is how we practice dana from birth, from life to life, perfecting it. Now you know to what degree you're able to. Then that is only the first parami, dana parami. Of course, in a similar manner, we practice all the other perfections. The second perfection is called sila parami, or the perfection of morality, virtues, leading a virtuous way of life. How do you practice this to its perfection? Now there are so many virtues. Non-killing. Now you take the precepts of avoiding killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and so on. Take the common one of killing, stealing, lying, like that. Now, some people who practice this have very strong principles. That we call them they have strong moral principles. They will not lie, they will not steal, they will not kill. Even if somebody come and threaten them, there are many instances like this which are happening every day in the business world. Some boss threatened their subordinates. If you don't lie, if you don't put this kind of entry in the books, you lose your job. And then, so they fiddle with the figures and put different kind of entry there. Or they ask you to steal something. You take something amounting to stealing. If not, you lose. Or somebody comes at gunpoint and said, they tell you to do something wrong. Otherwise, you will lose all your property. You lose your Then out of fear for losing your property, you do the wrong thing. Now that is when we have, if we want to perfect, if we want to practice our morality to its perfection, at the first degree, first level, we should be prepared to lose material things in order to maintain, uphold our moral principles. The second degree of perfection, we are prepared to lose even our limbs, certain parts of our body. They may chop off, our limbs, and then they may threaten, and they may even chop off the limbs. But we are prepared to lose that rather than killing, stealing, or performing some other immoral actions, going against the moral principles. Then this is how you do second degree of perfection of morality. Then the highest degree, the perfection, when you are prepared to lose even this life, even at the expense of losing your life, you will not give up your moral principle. That is how the Bodhisattva practice his perfection of morality. Now you understand how we can practice little by little, little by little. If you want to develop this, maybe not possible in one lifetime, but slowly, gradually, little by little, you can perfect it. And similarly, the third one, renunciation. You practice renunciation. You practice giving up. And this is why you lead a life of renunciation. You see how some of you are prepared to lose material things. I think some of you come and take leave. And unpaid leave also. You come for 2 weeks. Some of you are prepared to lose your jobs. I do not know, maybe they have lost your job already, Never mind. Even if I lose this job, I join. So strong is that. This is a parami. This is a virtue. In the eyes of ordinary people, in the eyes of worldling, in the eyes of the parents, in the eyes of, they are really mad. In the eyes of all their friends, real mad fellow. See what is he doing? But in the eyes of virtues, principles, perfecting of paramis, that is the right, the wholesome action there. We have come across a number of cases. When they go out, they get better job, more understanding boss, and they climb up faster, like that, you see. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but if you can do that, you can, you may frighten, you may shake, I'm not encouraging you to do that, but if you can do that, you can, you may frighten, you may shake, others. But if you do it with wholesome intention, clear intention, good intention, you should have no fear. Dhammo have rakati dhammachari. Those who live by Dhamma, the Dhamma protect you. I believe in this. And after, when you do something good, you don't worry. Good action come back like that. But you weigh and consider, sometimes you don't want to give shock to, your parents were already sick like that. You have to pave the way for them to have some understanding first. Otherwise, you create a lot of misunderstanding and trouble. So that's why there is what you call practicing it. You have wisdom too. You must have wisdom too in your action, like that. You pave the way for your wife. Otherwise, your wife will get very angry. And then you will have to separate, and you have to have another one. And then you cannot build up the parami together. So you should, if you have that kind of principle, and you should try to pave the way for them to understand first. You must have patience and pave the way for them, and let them have confidence in the Dhamma, and then you give them until, they have confidence in the Dhamma, then you can go further. You can get what you want, like that. Like what some of you on the first day you have mentioned. You wait for how many years? Until you have how many years? How many years did you wait? 14 years he waited. He wanted to join this novitiate program, the first novitiate program in 1976. That was the year he got married. And he dare not ask. He has wisdom, a little wisdom there, He frightened that, she might get very angry. So he waited and waited and waited and waited until he had 4 children. And now I think have satisfied the wife. The wife has seen real what dukkha is, you see. And realizing what dukkha is, the wife must have told him, if you want to go, you can go now. And now he takes this opportunity to go, to come. And like this, and some of you I see, from what you have related, your experience, you have waited for many years, like that. Because you don't plunge in at once, because you consider, you have consideration for others like that. It's a good thing. Like this is how you have understanding. You do it in a proper understanding way, like that. And sometimes parents don't understand. But slowly you do it. You make determination. After I tell you, you make adhitthana. How you can make your aspiration, your resolution, and it will lead you there. And when that resolution, that determination becomes strong, wholesome karma, when that ripens, nobody can stop you, like that. And that is how nekkhamma parami. And there is a story of how in the past, when the Buddha, as a bodhisattva, also as a prince, this time he was born eldest in the family, in the ruling family. And he told I told you this story last time, he told his barber, the moment you see any gray hair, please let me know. Because he said, I'm going to tell my people and says that this is time that I have to give up. I'm going old. He made that aspiration because he had this thought earlier on. But because he has to fulfill his responsibility, being the eldest in the family, he has some duty to perform. But he also has a sense of priority. Like, fulfill these things, and after this, he informed in advance. So the time came when the barber saw one gray hair, and he took out the gray hair and showed the prince. Prince saw it and says, okay, that very day, he went to make announcement to all his subjects and say, Now, there is a sign that shows that I am getting old and I wish to leave. And he just left his kingdom like that. You know? Just like that. Can you do it? Huh? There are many stories like this. How princes leave their shoulder. They leave these things because of their perfections. But here you see how people fight in various ways to uphold their dignity, their sovereignty, and so on. You see the nature where there are people, you know. If people practice more and more virtues, there will be this kind of people coming out. And that is what you call Nekkamma Parami, where you can renounce, you can give up, even to lose your wealth. Sometimes, you know, you are prepared to lose your life, but you still want to renounce like that. The highest level, like that. That is what you call renunciation. And the law of renunciation is such, it is parallel to that of giving dana. What you renounce, like you renounce, here you live a life of renunciation. You renounce some worldly luxuries. You don't renounce the world totally. You still live in this world. But what you renounce is you renounce some worldly pleasures. What are those worldly pleasures like? We mentioned last night about you watch television, you have, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken or what, McDonald's, and those things to please your palate, to please your eye, to please, you renounce that. But you get better ones, isn't it? You get more, like that. Of course, you renounce your sofa, you renounce your waterbed and luxuries of that. How do you feel? Better, isn't it? You sleep on what you call mat, on hard ground. It helps to straighten your back. No? Yes. It helps to straighten your back. It can cure your backache. But in this transition phase, because you are not used to it and your back already, spine already crooked, naturally you will find a little bit aching. But it is good. It helps you to straighten it up. It is true. I have experienced this in the past. That is why I'm very reluctant to sleep on, soft beds. I like the hard bed because it helps your muscles, it helps your spine you are straighten that. Good posture, good reclining posture, and a strong also muscles. And so you do not know, you get many things through giving up, Sometimes you are not able to see it. You're not able to see it. I remember my teacher, my lay teacher, tested me. For 3 days when I was traveling with him, I remember somewhere in the forest in Canada, he put me to test. And he asked me to eat food without any spices, without any salt, without any pepper, without any tasty things. For 3 days. I cooked those things, rice and vegetable and all that, just in water, plain water. And then I have to eat that. No? And I ate that. But I did not eat very much. And then later he looked at me and says, why? Why didn't you take some more? I said, enough. Because he saw me usually, I take a lot. Huh? I can eat full plate. But now I only take half the plate. And he says, why? What's the trouble? I says, I have enough. Then he smiled, Okay. And he keep quiet. Tomorrow again, same thing. And by that time, I realized that what I was taking was actually enough for my body. That means that previously, with all the kinds of spicy things and all the kinds of taste, I had taken not just enough for my body, but more. I have taken for my greed, for the taste. And I didn't realize that. And then after 3 days, he said, he supervised me, cooking, so that I don't cheat. He says, now just put in a little bit of salt. I put in a little bit of salt. And after that, I take so tasty, Huh? After that, after this period, and we went out, came out of the forest, and then I hitchhiked, I waited for a car. A car stopped by and took us. And then he says, have you eaten? He says, we have not eaten yet. Then he says, come. And he took us to a big restaurant. And I had all the taste, all the taste that I missed for 3 days. I have everything there. And my teacher looked at me and says, there you are. This is what you get from renunciation. Renouncing taste, He says, eat your heart food, Go on, eat. And I look at, after that, of course, I wallop. I eat very well, And I realized one thing from this lesson, that when we renounce, when we start renouncing, and we start really appreciating, because you have taken so many tasty things, so much so that you have lost your sense of taste. That is why you do not know how to appreciate tasty food. How your wife, mother cook for you, and then very tasty, but still you say no taste, because your tongue have been so used to that. But if you stop, now I am sure after you take, but our food is also very tasty. We must tell those people to reduce. Reduce the salt, pepper and spices. And then just give you plain on canana. And when we live quietly by ourselves, the way we cook, we don't spend so much time cooking. People spend so many hours. I see my mother, I see people spending so many hours cooking. And sometimes they spend whole day. From morning they get up to prepare breakfast. After breakfast they start preparing for lunch. After lunch they start prepare for dinner. Whole day in the kitchen. And simple, if we really eat for health, right? And I used to teach people to cook also. Simple recipe. They ask me, what's your recipe? I says, find what's there. Whatever is available, that is your recipe. Chop, 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 chop. Put in one pot. At different times, of course. At different times. Put the hard ones first, and the softer ones next, and the softest greens last. Put it there. And break all the tradition. My grandmother used to teach me how to cook. First you must fry the onion and fry the garlic until it's brown and nice smell, and then after that you put this, you put that, mix everything, I did learn all that, and I did cook when I was, a student during the vacation. I cooked for, 90 people once, I remember. They all were very happy, but this time they may not be so happy, and if I have to cook for them. And I reversed all the whole thing, and instead of frying, I put water first. After that, put a little bit of oil. And after that, put all the curry powder in it. It tastes very good. You can try, Everything you put in. And the balanced cooking is this. I learned. Later on, I learned. Traveling here and there, I learned from various places. If you want to have balance, first, they must get something from the roots, from the stem, from the leaf, from the fruits. Then you have balance. You can have your balanced diet from these things. And you make soup from that. Very good. Right. Renounce. You learn how to renounce taste. You get more taste like that. This is what the power of renunciation. And like you give up your hair, the hair that grows later on will be much better ones, Yes, you'll be surprised, Oh, there you are. He has experienced it. I think they have experienced it too. No? You want to keep your dirty hair? I do not know. Some of them, they have all kinds of dirt in their... And still they want to keep it. They are afraid to, shave. But now they shave and you can wash it clean. You can take your opportunity now to get rid of all your dandruff. And all the scales that you keep on washing now. This is the time. That's right. Later on it grows, fresh crop. Beautiful. And never mind, now you think you may not look so good, but actually you look better. That's what one of the novices said. He thought he would not be good looking. That's why he don't want to shave. But then he looked at others after they have all shaved. He looked at them handsomer. So he decided to shave, and he looked not bad after all. You see, more radiant, more shining, more with all those, all those burden you carry up there. You see your concept of beauty. People have funny concepts of beauty. They take dead things, dead materials. Actually, your hair looks like wire, actually, And what you do is you start curling and curling and curling and curling that. You back comb and front comb and to look beautiful. You should try and see, Keep it short. Right. And then you find the real thing. And you save so many things. You see, by renouncing. Keep it simple. You save time, you save energy, you save money. And with this, you don't have to work so hard. And not only that, you save a lot of energy. People talk to you, you feel shy, you don't talk. Don't have to waste a lot of energy. And not only that, you can, in fact, when you go out, people ask you, why your hair like that? You take this opportunity, you can give them Dhamma. I joined the novitiate program. What is that program? This is what I learned. You can have opportunity to give Dhamma. See? This is what renunciation is about. Giving up and you gain. Give up the material, you gain the spiritual, like that. Then, next one. We cannot finish all the 10. Right. We'll just tell you what they are. Because it's important for you to know these virtues and try to develop these virtues, because these virtues, they complement one another and they make your mind strong and they lead you to enlightenment. Of course, if you think it's very difficult to become the all-enlightened Buddha because have to wait for a long time, because there are many bodhisattvas now already waiting, you have long queue. No, true, not laughing, not joking, there is long queue. You have to wait your turn. No? Because, so if you realize that, at a certain stage when you realize this, then after seeing suffering, so much of suffering, and you decide to give up, to put an end to suffering here and now, you can do it too. And then the extent to which you are able to help others will depend on the extent to which you have developed your parami in the past, and the extent to which you have developed your parami here and now. You can still help others. Only thing is the degree of your perfections, your skills may not be perfected yet, like that. There are some people like that who, after practicing for many lifetimes, developing their paramis, and then they realize at a stage that, they see so much suffering and they think that it is important for them to help the people here and now. And then they abandon that vow, and then they work on for their own deliverance. And they lock themselves up, or they go somewhere, practice until they are ready, and then they come out like that. And their minds are free. They can help more people like that. But because of what they have perfected in the past, they bloom, they can help people. And some cannot help as much people because of the lacking of parami. So you should try to develop as much as possible until you realize, until you decide to finish. And if you want to develop, if you want to put an end to suffering, there is a very simple formula. You know the formula we gave you? What? What is the formula? Just this. Breathe in, breathe out, be happy. Can you do that? Listen. Breathe in, breathe out, and be happy. But keep on being happy. Breathe in and breathe out all the time. This is what I was instructed. And I try to do it. Very difficult, So we have to have some other support. Like we have to cut off some other defilements, because when you breathe in, breathe out, just while breathing in, while breathing out, there are many thoughts already come into the mind, you see? And those thoughts disturb your mind, you see? So that's why we need to do some other thing too. But the real essence of the practice is this. If we can breathe in, breathe out, and if we can keep our mind in the present, don't try to live in the past, or don't try to live in the future. You can plan your future, but you must put there, after you have planned your future, you put a rubber stamp there. Everything is subject to change. When you plan a program, that's why people ask me for a program. So I give them a program, but I tell them also, everything is subject to change without notice. Like that. If you can take it, then you can maintain your happiness. But if you cannot, you'll be very, very, upset. Like, our program here, we tell you we finish by certain time, right? And then if somebody comes late, you wait and wait and wait and wait, and you get angry. And then you say, why not punctual like this? No, that's not the way to practice Dhamma, I remember when I was, trying to get instruction from our meditation master, and I went to see him, in the night. I think it was about 10 o'clock or so in the night. In the forest, I climbed up very steep, went to see him. Says, and then I waited for instruction. And there was somebody there, so he told me, come back in half hour's time. So he says, wait for half an hour. I wait and wait and wait and wait. After that, he goes out somewhere. I wait and wait and wait, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, nearly 4 hours. Then he didn't come yet. So I came down, of course, upset a bit, and used torchlight. And I brought spare batteries, but I did not bring spare bulb. And of all the things, the bulb blew on my way down. So I have to use candle, depending on one candle power, to go and walk there. Sometimes have to crawl. And then as soon as I reach my small hut, after a little while, one novice came and says, now you can go now. The teacher told you, master told you only to wait there half an hour. And then after that, I learned a good lesson about time. There is no time in the practice of Dhamma. That's what we call akaliko. If you want to practice Dhamma, there is no time. You should not be waiting for us to get Dhamma instruction. Just as you sit, you can get beautiful Dhamma instructions while waiting. Because when you see anger there, that is Dhamma too, you see. And when you watch that, you can counter with it. You can use Buddha, it goes away. Oh, beautiful, you are happy then. Then another one comes. And then another one, you apply your mindfulness, it goes away. While waiting, don't wait to receive Dhamma instruction. Don't wait to say, I wait because I want to practice Dhamma, I must wait. While you are seated there, that's the time you should practice. Look in, observe, and that's how you can get the real Dhamma there. So now you know what to do, because we may come late on and off, Right. And truly, there's another thing about time. And we cling to time. We cling to the concept of time so much. That's why we suffer. We rush. Because of what? Because of the time. Why do we rush? Because time. We cling to the time. We are all, we are slaves of this one. If you give up this, you can do your thing, in your own time. And we are so conditioned by time. Now when we sleep, we look at the time. We must go and sleep. We are not sleepy, we are not tired, but must sleep. And then when we cannot sleep, we look 1 o'clock, we panic, cannot sleep, 1 o'clock already. And then start to count sheep, cannot count sheep also. If you cannot sleep, get up. You can sit. You can do walk. And because you are not tired, your body is not tired, you don't need sleep. So why are you afraid? You can read if you feel drowsy and you feel, you are tired. When your body is tired, it will naturally need the sleep. And then you lie down. Mindfully you lie down. It will deep sleep. You see? It's like that. But because we live in a world, this world is so conditioned by time. And in reality, there is no such thing as time in reality. Do you realize that? There is no time in reality. What time is it now? You say 9:30. Is it a universal truth? It's a conventional truth. You can change this by law. By agreement with another country, you can change it half an hour. And you publish it, the world have to change, put on the clock. Right? When you are traveling, in the air, what time? They either tell you the time of your destination there, or they tell you the time from where you left. They don't tell you in the middle there what time it is. You see, time. And yet we cling to time. But you all have to cling to time if you have to go to work. But we don't have to. We don't have to. But for this novitiate program, you have to. I must highly commend our timekeeper. I think, he has been a timekeeper for a long time in the past too. He is so far the best timekeeper we have found during all the 14 years novitiate program. Because I have never told him how you should keep time and how you should inform. But he takes the bell. All the other timekeepers, sometimes they volunteer, but they just hit there only where they are, and they don't inform others. But he takes the trouble to go round and round and hit the bell, right? Very good. And if you feel tired, you can pass on to another person, but you can tell them how to do it. But if you can perform that duty, it's very good. You are doing a great service. Like you inform others, time. And I told you you do it mindfully, like happily you do it, You don't do it with a grudge. I had to hit this and I had to hit this. Everything you do is mindfully. If you want to realize, if you want to have peace and happiness more and more, you try to make your mind every time, whatever you do, please try to make yourself happy, like that. You listen, happy. Can understand, happy. Cannot understand, happy also, because you can watch your breath. Yes, but true. When I went for my retreat to Thailand, I could not speak any word of Thai. And I have to listen every day, talk in Thai for hours and hours. And I sat down there. If I cannot listen, if I cannot understand, never mind. I can watch my breath, breathe in and breathe out. Nobody can stop me breathing in and breathing out. And I breathe in, breathe out, and feel happy. And I have no meds. You think, you sleep or you sit nice on a flat, these things. If we are not lucky, what we do is, because the heart is made of bamboo. And if we have to sit, if we come a bit late or something, we push, we have to sit just at the point where the bamboo, is bent up, curved up there. Very painful. We have no cushion. We cannot sit with cushion. So we sit there and watch the pain. But now I learned one method. It's a trick. It's a beautiful technique. Whatever you do when you watch your breath, just try to keep a smile in your heart. If you cannot keep on your face, never mind. Keep it in your heart. Keep in your mind. Keep in your mind the heart, the smile, the half smile inside you. And then you don't get angry. You don't get angry. And if you cannot give anything, if you have nothing to give to one another, because now you say, what can I give to one another? Every day you get up. You must make a determination to practice this. But you say, dana, how can I give dana? I have no money, I have nothing. Can you give a smile? Instead you get up in the morning, you show your sour face, sulky face, not very generous. We don't want that. Try to give a smile. And this is also giving, It's one form of giving. You give like happiness, you give like friendship. Because naturally when you give a smile, the other person have to smile too. When he smiles, he feel happy, he feel relaxed like that. Because if you look sour at him, he thinks that, like he has done something wrong. Isn't it? So try to keep a smile in your heart always. If you cannot smile outside, keep it in your heart. And slowly it will bloom out like that. And this is how you can maintain your happiness and so on. All right. I think we have to stop here. And we will talk more about effort. We will talk about patience. We have talked a little bit about patience, about khanti. Khanti does not mean only patience, it means endurance. It means forbearance. A lot of things meant in khanti. And it is a very strong virtue to have patience, to have endurance. I remember my grandfather used to tell me, not my grandmother, my grandfather, because when I was little I was very naughty, I was very hot-tempered. And then my mother always complained to my grandfather. And every time I go there, grandfather called me, come. And then he says, boy, patience is the mother of all virtues. And it's stick in there. Patience is the mother of all virtues. Do you know that? From patience. Patience is the mother of all virtues. All virtues can grow, can come out from patience. If you have patience, if you have endurance, you can develop all virtues. But you must be patient. Don't rush. Don't, when you want thing you cannot get, don't get upset. Take your time, slowly, be patient. The thing will come like that. But you must work you must have effort too. You work slowly. You make your effort, you will be successful like that. Patience. And all these things, these parami, these virtues are very meaningful for us to cultivate in our life. Have some thought over these things and think about it again and again and see whether you have it or not. If you don't have it, try to cultivate it. That's right. If you have it already, please maintain it and try to make it better if possible. Try to improve it. Because these are what you call some of the higher values of life. We live in this world not only to eat, to drink, and to pass examination. After passing examination, what you do? You go to university, after university, you get a job, after you get a job, what do? Oh, you have to find somewhere and get married and produce children. After producing children, what do? You wait for the children to grow up another 20 years. Then after that, what do? Now you get this egg, back egg, cannot walk, cannot, sans taste, sans eye, sans everything. That's what Shakespeare said. Shakespeare was a good Buddhist, From what if you read Shakespeare's work, you can see all lives are staged and all men and women merely players. They have, and world in 7 stages. At first the infant mewling and puking in a nurse's arm, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel on his back, unwilling to school, crawling, unwilling to school, and so on. I used to study these by heart, and then now I recollect, I think again, I see, very meaningful, stage by stage our life like that, and we contemplate our stages of life. And then we ask ourselves this question: what do we really want in life? What is the purpose of our life? Is it just to grow up and produce children? After that, what? Oh, my teacher took me when I was traveling with him for 2 years, every time he brainwashed me. And I see some animals, some dogs, he says, "So, see the dog? They also marry. They also produce children." And you look at the cats, sometimes you see cats and says, "See that? They also have children. They also marry and produce children." He look at the ants and says, "Look at the ants. See how? They also marry and produce children." What is so big about it? Is there a big thing about, producing children? Something not uncommon. It's a very common thing, very ordinary thing. Although some people find difficulty, They marry, they cannot get children. You see? You see? But after they come to Dhamma, their mind becomes strong and they can if they want to. You see? But if they realize more Dhamma, then they know that there are some higher values of life. So you should not worry. If you can get children, then you must have your duty, obligations towards them and try to practice the parami with them, because they will give you opportunity, a lot of opportunity to practice khanti, patience and endurance. Just at the right time they cry and wake you up. You get angry and khanti, patience. And not only that, now if after you cannot get any child, then you must take that as a beautiful opportunity for you to practice Dhamma. So anyway, if your mind is good, if you know how to have a right kind of contemplation, anything you can turn and say, everything happens for the good. Can or not? Anything happens for the good, and your mind will be good. When you meet with certain crises, you lose certain things, but you gain some other thing, like that. So, if you look carefully and see with the right attitude, the right perspective, and you can see everything happens for the good when you strive like that. And then this is how you can maintain your equanimity, and that will lead you on to have more lasting happiness, what we call blissful contentment, like that. blissful contentment.